RWBY, Volume 1, Episodes 2 and 3, The Shining Beacon. What happens? The kids arrive at Beacon, where Yang immediately ditches RWBY. RWBY encounters the W and B in the title, Weiss and Blake, and gets introduced to Jean. The two then talk about weapons and friendship for a bit. The two then make their way to an assembly hall where RWBY ditches Jean to meet back up with Yang. After Weiss handles the legal repercussions of the earlier explosion, Ozpin gives a brief speech about how many Beacon graduates fail at furthering themselves in their chosen field. That night, RWBY writes a letter to her friends and tries to chit-chat with Blake more. The two then talk about books as if no one else on Earth has ever enjoyed reading one, until their ruckus brings the attention of Weiss, who prompts the group to go to bed. Why wouldn't they have trash cans on the airship? I'm glad that they learned early on that this suddenly 2D thing wasn't working. What a great way to immediately break your viewer's immersion. Oh yeah, Yang, I'm sure you really care about these friends of yours that are literally never seen again. I guess it's not unreasonable to assume that Yang just stapled herself to a random group in an attempt to try to push RWBY to meet new people. However, I find it hard to believe Yang wouldn't have any friends. It makes sense for the other girls to be alone. RWBY got pushed up 2 grades, Weiss moved from Atlas, and Blake recently left the White Fang. Of course, they don't know anybody. But Yang's been schooling in Vale for years. Surely she must have made some real friends. The least they could have done is have Yang mention some of her friends' names in casual conversation. Also, kind of a jerk move to ditch RWBY when she so clearly is underprepared for her stay at Beacon. She doesn't even know if they have dorms. I get Yang's tactics, but a little guidance would have been nice. If Weiss is worried about RWBY causing some damage with her dust, why would she go swinging it around like that? This is a really fun introduction to Weiss. Her character is immediately defined, and Blake's added info lets the audience get a clear understanding of Weiss and some implied backstory. Daughter of questionable but rich businessman. Blake's intro is well done too. Reading, speaks quietly, well-informed, and leaves without a word. We understand that she likes to keep to herself without having the characters just tell us. Good job. Why aren't they silhouette people?
Oh yeah? What if I called you Crater Face?
So they mention in the director's commentary that they forgot to add a crater to the area of RWBY's explosion. But then they left in the Crater Face joke. Not a good look to forget the main component of a joke, guys.
It's also a gun.
That's not good gun safety.
RWBY is blatantly not looking at Jean during this sequence, and boy does it look awkward. I get that they're trying to keep RWBY facing the camera, but these characters exist in a world with clear depth. If you have RWBY face the camera like this, we can all see that she's not actually watching Jean struggle. The Jean's shield weighs the same when it's in sheath mode joke is cute, and I really like it. Good delivery. Wow, remember back when we only got 5-minute episodes? It's good to see that they've clearly gotten better with their animation over time. Where here we have characters not actually looking at each other in weird 2D inserts, now we get full, fluid animation at consistently 2 to 3 times the runtime. These humble starting points are a good example of what can get done as long as those working on a project are passionate about the end product. Why would you put Yang in this crowd? Just fill the room with weird silhouette people and let us see Yang in full color when up close.
Ah, great. Where am I supposed to find another nice, quirky girl to talk to?
Oh my god, you really exploded.
Blasphemer! Didn't your uncle teach you that there are 2 gods? I've heard that this whole scene with Weiss yelling at RWBY was the first thing Monty animated for the show proper. Well, if that's true, then good, because this sequence is great. The performances are on point, the animation is smooth, it's really funny, the characters have yet to look this expressive before. There's a reason this scene immediately became a fan favorite. What a weirdly negative speech Oz chose to give. But I guess it makes sense. Based on later volumes, every huntsman is either in a government's pocket, a street thug, a bandit, or incompetent. It seems that unless you're a teacher or under the age of 20, huntsmen are destined to be useless or a menace.
He seemed kind of off. It's almost like he wasn't even there. There's no such thing as negative friends. You just made 1 friend and 1 enemy.
Where did Yang's character go over the years? Here she's kinda dumb, drooling after cute boys, trying to make friends by subtly mocking Blake's fashion. That's all gone now. She's no longer ditzy, or flirty, or happy-go-lucky, she's just damaged. Her whole character has switched over to hurt, physically and emotionally. I miss the Yang that did more than just be upset all the time. Similar to earlier, it'd be nice to actually get to see some of these friends RWBY mentions. I wouldn't expect them to pop up at Beacon, but now that the group's traveling around, maybe they could bump into some of them. Actually, you know what? Don't do that, because the cast is way too big to be having more people be joining in. Damn, I forgot how funny RWBY used to be. They've got great comedic timing and delivery. It's a shame that their attempts at humor have just boiled down to have Nora scream something, because when they try, they can really do well. It's always distracted me how weirdly blocky RWBY's elbows look.
It's about a man with two souls, each fighting for control over his body.
This kind of backstory is hard to do without having the characters just say it, and I think this scene was well done. We get some important motivations for RWBY, and having Blake question her not only gives RWBY more depth, but also shines some light on the more negative nature of Blake's character. Weiss's hair should be way longer. When her hair reaches her knees when pulled up into a bun, then when down and straight it should almost reach the floor. But I think I might be the only person on Earth who cares about that. And so, that was The Shining Beacon. Part 1 technically gets way more done, introducing 3 new characters, establishing the setting, and getting more info on our protagonist's character. However, its animation is a lot more clunky than the second part. Part 2 doesn't have any of the awkward facing away from what they're looking at problems like how Part 1 did. While more may have happened in Part 1, Part 2 allows the characters to interact, building their relationship while also letting the audience get to understand them better. The 2 parts work fine enough separated, but the whole experience does work best altogether. At least Part 1 ended somewhere organically, while also getting plenty done, something not all the episodes in the volume succeed at. This is a fun continuation of the story, really letting the audience get involved in the setting and letting the characters get introduced and develop quickly, but naturally. This episode is a shining example of how to have a conversation-heavy episode stay entertaining.
Proud of my baby sister. Cut it out!